I said, man. It's time. NFL playoffs, college football semifinals playoffs. Man, it's time. It is officially time for the college football. Oh, I guess it already has been time for college football, huh? It is time for the NFL playoffs. We got Wildcard Weekend this weekend. A lot to talk about, a lot to get into when it comes to that. There's some NFL news that, of course, we get off the air a little bit later. Some big news pops off. So we got some news to talk about in the NFL world, but, man, I can't get over it, man. It's playoff time. It's truly playoff time. We've talked all season. We've grinded all season. We've done the tape all season just to lead to this point. You got 60 minutes. And if you're lucky, you'll have 60 minutes this week, 60 minutes next week, 60 more minutes, and then one last 60 minutes. And for some teams, a.k.a. the Lions and Chiefs, they get a little bit of time off, man. Get a little time to recover, have a little bit of recovery. I mean, there is, big news out of the Lions for some potential returns. We got coaches that are looking to find new homes in this little search in between the playoffs. So, yeah, today, like I said, NFL playoffs. I'll be giving out my bets and my breakdowns for what I think is going to happen in Wildcard Weekend and for some leans potentially to look out for. Along with that, we will also be breaking down the college football playoffs, and we will also be going over my bets and breakdowns for college football semifinals leading into the national championship, which is crazy that it's, basically like 11, 12 days from now. And then college football is over until August. Wow. But before we get into all that, we mentioned something Wednesday. I would like to go over my records for college football, NFL, all that. I just want to show off my records real quick before coming into the season. We didn't get a chance to tally it, look at it fully at the regular season and all that. So I just wanted to quickly go over some records, kind of talk about the season that was in the regular season, give a quick little salute to the regular season, and then we get ready for the playoff grind. Like I said, this is going to be too brief. You get a quick little peek behind the scenes, man. As you can see from really above head me, a lot of my YouTube stuff's in here, so we had to push it out of the way, make this a little bit bigger. But this is what we're looking at, man. For the football season, these are all fairly accurate to the picks I gave out. I will admit, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say there were some bets I took on the side that didn't make it up here. There were wins or losses, but for the most part, everything you see right there, that's all records I gave out, people. As you can see, not a bad season, man. As you can see, not a bad season, honestly. College football, 87, 77-1, not bad. Player prop wise, that could have been better, but I'll admit, wasn't our best season player prop wise. I don't want to say I wasn't fully focused on it, but I wasn't fully focused on it. Like, there was some other, I wanted to focus more on straights. As you can see from the NFL props, we went way heavier in the NFL props. College props are just a bit too unpredictable, too, especially with just so much variancy in some of these games, especially in early season when you got like 36-point spreads. And also, another rule for those of you who don't know, in Indiana, which is where I reside, you can't bet on player props during the game. So, I'll admit, to cram all that in and be like, all right, I got to make all these before the game, and then I can't make any adjustments during the game. Not the biggest fan of that. I would like to be able to live bet touchdown scores occasionally, live bet this. So because of that, I'll admit, didn't look at player props too much this season. Whatever. Bowl season. I think we forgot to add a win. Actually, I lied. I think that might be good. If anything, we might be off by like a win or loss, but 17-9 is pretty, that's fairly accurate. Like that, I'm missing like maybe 1 or 2 games. I believe that should be good though. Pickem Record. We talked about it yesterday, but not mad. It's basically money line bet. So if I bet the money line of every team, 193.79, not horrible. But obviously some of those odds would be like minus 800. So don't know if we'd make a profit, but then you got NFL bets, regular season straights, 86-65-1. I'm really proud about the straights. I will say that straights went really well for us this season. Really looking forward to keep ironing those out. Up 20 on the year, up 20 in both, almost in both. We'll take it. Touchdown scores, a little bit negative, but honestly, the nice part about touchdown scores, most of the ones I gave out, except for a few at the end of the year, most were at least plus money. If not, they were at least like minus 200, minus 150. So probably made a profit there, I would assume. I'll admit. I don't know. I bet a lot of touchdown scores. And then player props wise, 121.92. Very, very proud of that. We did pretty good. Player props, so that's like the receiving yards, all that, receiving yards, receptions, all that stuff. Very, very proud of that. We had that locked down. And this is the part where it kind of got a little bit nasty. College football nasty, boys. I mean, I'm just glad we hit one. I'm not going to lie to you. We went probably a good, what was that? 3 weeks without hitting anything. And yeah, so that, I think we went all season except for the second to last week of the year where we finally hit. So down $25 isn't too bad for that. And like I said, these are only $15 a bet. So for the fact we went 6-40, up $600, only betting $15 a bet, not bad. I'm not mad about that at all. Like I said, very happy with how the season turned out. Thought it went really, really well. I just wanted to show that up because I really haven't given, if you don't look at the YouTube descriptions, then you won't really have an idea of how we did this season. So I just wanted to give a little proof that, hey, people, if you follow along with us, great year, man. Let's continue it on now into the playoffs. Before, obviously, we talk playoffs, let's go over some quick NFL news, anything that's popping off, anything I missed, anything that we need to talk about. Like I said, Raiders. Brady reached out to Belichick about head coaching. Truly feels like, I'd be lying. I kind of feel like Belichick might end up with the Raiders, but I don't know. I don't know if it'll be this season. Probably a year or two from now, maybe. I wouldn't be shocked if something where, for example, Raiders hire somebody who doesn't work out for 2 or 3 years, then Bill Belichick comes in. I don't know though. I just don't see him leaving UNC. The only thing that has me maybe I just might is the fact there's a $1 million buyout on June 1st, 2025. Hurts returns to practice after missing 2 straight games with a concussion. I think most of the reports were saying that he would have been cleared from concussion protocol earlier in the weekend, but because there's no practice, they just didn't do it, which is good news to sound like, okay, he's actually healthy and we'll be good. Micah Parsons came out and said the Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl next season. They just never learn, man. Raiders requested to interview Chief Spagnuolo and both of the Lions coordinators. 49ers targeting Saleh after firing DC Sorensen. I would not be shocked if Robert Saleh ends up back there. He was a really good DC. I thought as a DC, I thought he did fine. Head coaching didn't work out the best for him. So that's not too shocking that they want to bring him back as DC. Because like I said, DC, pretty successful. And then also the whole Jets situation, after he gets fired, it becomes so much messier. Probably looked pretty good for him. Kelsey dismissed the idea that Chiefs rest the starters to keep Bengals out of playoffs. They rest their starters, That's how I viewed it. Anybody who views it as they tried to keep the Bengals out of the playoffs, I won't lie. I'm not going to sit here and act like they didn't know that was a situation, but I also don't think they really cared. I think they wanted to lose that game for better draft seeding regardless. I don't even think it would matter if they win a Super Bowl, though, but I don't think they planned on winning that game. I think they were totally okay like that. If we lose this game, whatever. They were starting out third stringers. Carson Wentz even got replaced at one point. Nobody's really playing. Herbert Harbaugh told team he remembers the day he was born. That's a fun article to read, I'll admit. It's just a little bit about Harbaugh's changing the culture and doing good. Ravens, Dave Flowers is a long shot to play Saturday, which is huge news. Lamar's come out and said I was too antsy in past playoffs. The fact that he knows that and he's coming out. Very interesting. Very interesting to see if Lamar's going to be able to overcome it. I believe they're 10-point favorites over the Steelers, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Bears have denied the interview with Mike McCarthy, plan to meet with Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll would be that would be a pretty good hire for Caleb. And I'm assuming that since the Cowboys denied it, they're at least going to bring back Mike is my guess. Bring back Dak, at least try it one more year. Probably give him a 1-year extension again. And then for the Bears, like I said, Pete Carroll's one of those guys who's CEO as a head coach. That's awesome. So he's not going to be calling plays on offense or defense, but he's going to get everybody in the right position. Going to get everybody in the right situations, hopefully, which Bears need that shit, if we're being honest. So that's probably really good for them. Patriots interview Mike Vrabel. That's where we think he's going to go. Ashton Jeanty declares for the draft. Very interesting to see how high up he's going to get drafted. David Montgomery is available for the divisional round, expected to be available for divisional round. If not, I'm assuming he'll be available the week after, assuming they win. Man, that is crazy that he hurt his knee that bad. It sounded like his season's over, and all of a sudden now he is able to have a chance to keep playing. That's going to be a huge get back if they get him back. That's just massive get back if they can get him back. Dolphins GM Tyreek didn't ask for a trade. That's going to be a situation to keep eyes on. And then the final thing I think I need, Obviously, there's more coaches interviewings going on and everything. But the last thing I want to bring up that doesn't lead in the playoffs. It's probably better. We'll go back to the Monty news. Leads back in the playoffs. Raiders fire Antonio Pierce. Raiders wrote in a statement, "We appreciate Antonio's leadership first as interim head coach, and this past season as head coach. We are grateful for his ability to reignite what it means to be a Raider throughout the entire organization, which they truly needed. I'm not gonna act. I'm not gonna act like he was a amazing coach, but Antonio Pierce wasn't horrible. He had horrible moments. He had some pretty bad moments too, overall. But with how bad the Raiders have been, I mean, I don't know. With everything that went on, it's hard to defend him, man, because you see they lose Jacobs, they lose Devontae Adams. Defense didn't play the best. They didn't really address quarterback too much within Gardner Minshew and free agency. And see, that's the thing, is like I kind of want to blame him, but this is also on the GM as well. So it's just, I don't know. A tough situation all around. I expect Antonio Pierce. I don't know. I actually don't know what his coaching future is going to look like now. I don't know if he would go to college. I don't know if he. I don't know if he go back to assistant, DC, OC. Like I truly don't know where he'd go from here. And then, like I said, it'd be really, really awesome if the Lions got David Montgomery back, because he could be a huge addition to their team. And somebody, especially to lighten the load off Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit, who has been, that boy has been toting the rock a lot. Speaking of toting the rock and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, those guys don't play this week. But we got some other boys in the NFL playing this week, so I'm very excited to talk about that. I need to jump on this number now. Sweet. Good to know. There's a college football. I'll tell everybody this early. Riley Leonard's rushing over. It's moved from, I think I saw it at 45, 46, now it's at 49. So before we get into the NFL, I want to recommend giving that out and taking that. His legs are going to be a big part of the offense. I'm just trying to also buy time so I can place a bet myself. And another book is still 47.5. So I'd recommend taking it before it jumps up too much, because that is one of the bets I'm going to give out, by the way, once we get to college football. But we're not college football yet. We are on the men's league in the National Football League. Saturday, 4:31. Oh my Lord. Hold on, I just remember something else. Oh my gosh. Damn it. I just remembered something else I forgot to do, sorry. Whatever, we'll leave it. Damn. Shout out to Dual Fan. They offer that free daily shuffle they do every week that gives out free boosts and all that. Your boy forgot to do it the first 2 days. That sucks. Anyway, that's what I was complaining about. But now we can officially get to the NFL. Chargers, 2.5-point favorites over the Texans in Houston. Give me the Chargers. I actually like the Chargers in this game. I do think they're going to upset. Houston did not like what I saw from they ended the season, I guess, on a high note, beating the first drive when they had all the starters in against the Titans looked pretty good. But past that, I mean, I'm still not going to forget everything else I saw leading up to that. I also just think the Chargers are the better team based on what's happened the last few games coming into this point, and I just can't fade. I'm not going to fade Harbaugh, man. I'd rather fade C.J. Stroud and them, who I just... Is there a little bit of AFC South bias in there? Slight bit, but at the same time, too, I don't mind the value. But, plus 130 for a plus 2.5-point dog is like, no thank you. And like I said, I just can't get myself to take Houston. I truly think the Chargers under Harbaugh are a completely different animal. Herbert's looks really, really good. So I'm very excited to watch this team play. And I'm just excited to watch. This is going to be a good game to kick it off. What's the best way to describe this game compared to the other games? This game has potential. We'll put it that way. This game has some true potential to be one of those games where it's like it's a 2-point game, back and forth the whole way, and it's really, really fun. Or it could be a game where the Texans' offense kind of stinks. They don't do anything. Chargers blow them out. Or the third option where it's a defensive battle. We don't have a lot of scoring, which I'm kind of leaning towards that might end up being what happens. But Chargers still win. I like Chargers minus 2.5. That's minus 118. Minus 154 on the money line. Wish it was a little bit. Honestly, if the money line gets to anywhere around like minus 140, I'll just take the money line over the 2.5. Even if the 2.5 covers, rather just not even play, because it's 2.5 minus 118. But we are going to keep moving on, and we're going to talk about some touchdown scores I like now. We're going running backs, man. We're going to keep it a little bit light. We're going to try to lock in a little bit and not give out like 20 a week. Mostly in season, I like to try to give out 2 or 3 per game, just because it's just going to be about 2 or 3 touchdowns per game. So I like finding 2 or 3 guys I like usually. For this, we're probably only going to stick with 2. I like Joe Mixon. I like J.K. Dobbins. I like both those guys to score. Sorry, I'm trying to write it down as we talk. J.K. Dobbins TD, Joe Mixon TD. I like the ground game by both these teams. I think especially in the red zone once they get in there. It's going to be heavy power, heavy run game, and then maybe some play action. So tight ends are going to be in play for sure. I don't mind the tight ends. Nico Collins, if I'm going to take anybody else from the Texans, and then past that, it's Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon, or bust. I don't even want to mess with any other names on the list. As for the Chargers, I like J.K. Dobbins. Don't mind Ladd at all. And then I kind of lean Will Dissly at tight end if we're going to pick 3 per team. But like I said, I'm just going to pick the one. I like both running backs more than I like everybody else. So I'm just going to leave it with the running backs. Do think the tight ends will be a part of this game, though. So when it comes to the passing props, or choosing the receiving props, we'll take a quick peek at those. Passing-wise, you got Justin Herbert over 231, C.J. Stroud over 231.5, both minus 114. I'm good, man. Justin Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 102. C.J. Stroud's plus 148. I actually will be taking Herbert's over. I do like that. So we'll go Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I just think that I also think there's a good chance C.J. Stroud does it, but the biggest thing is like their offense, especially with all the injuries they've had at wide receiver, it just feels like when they get in the red zone, it's like, hey, we're going to just try to give it to Joe Mixon as much as we can. Then if that doesn't work, all right, let's try to use C.J. as a weapon. But yeah, I just think it's going to be heavy in the red zone, heavy Joe Mixon, so I'm scared to take anybody else really past that. And then at least for the Chargers, I do have a feeling that they have a better chance to pass, especially because like J.K. Dobbins coming back from injury. So we're not fully sure. I mean, he played last week, but it's also like, man, do we really want to give him full workload? There's no Gus Johnson. There's no Gus Bradley on here. So, Gus Edwards. I'm naming all the wrong Gus's, man. Sheesh. There's no Gus Edwards. There's no Gus Edwards, so I'm curious to see what the running attack's going to be. If Zeke's going to get called up, what's all that's going to be. So, yeah, we're not going to mess with too much there. So I like the Chargers' chances to pass it a little bit more just because I'm curious. If they don't have that Ram back, I mean, yes, J.K. Dobbins might be able to do it, but they might be more inclined to pass a little bit. Receiving overs, I think we're only going to take Ladd's at 72.5. I don't think I really want to mess with anybody else. It's just a number thing, honestly. Because, like, for example, Nico Collins, 87.5, I like it, but I just don't know if I'm going to take it. Jolton Schultz over 35.5. Tempting. Joe Mixon's like 19.5 for them, not bad. Quentin Johnson's 42.5. Will Dissly 30.5. Like, these are all numbers where it's low enough to where very, very, very tempting. But now that it's playoffs, you're going to want to get your weapons involved. It's going to be hyper-focused on getting the weapons and using the weapons. Man, it's just like, obviously, they're going to want to use Joe Mixon. They're going to want to use C.J. Stroud. They're going to want to use Joe Mixon. No, receiving-wise, last few games, though, Ladd McConkey, 95, 94, 87 receiving yards with 6, 8, 5 the last 3 games. So he's been doing pretty well with that over, so that's mainly another reason I like that as well. Over 5.5 receptions. I like that as well. Like I said, I'm not, prop-wise, we've had a really fun season with a lot of these props. I'm, like, really trying to narrow it in and keep it locked in. The more games we have, the more stuff I might find, but we have a lot of games this weekend, man. We have 5 days of playoff football. I don't need to lose it all on Chargers, Texans, betting every single prop. And like I said, some of these numbers. Nico Collins over 6.5 receptions, plus 106. A little big in my opinion. Dalton Schultz. A little big with his. I think his is about 5.5. But yeah, you look at Nico Collins receiving. Last few games, his receptions 5, 3, 7, 4, 60, 50, 38. I mean, I guess Tennessee, we can kind of wipe that game clean because he didn't fully play, but it's been a bit inconsistent. With no other receiving options, like I said, he's going to be the main target. I actually am tempted to take Joe Mixon. I want to take him over 19.5 receiving yards. He has 1 reception for 5, 2 for 13, 1 for 14, 5 for 33. So it's just like, oh, man. It's like, you need a lot of volume. A lot of volume with some of these Texans guys. I'm staying away from them. Last one we'll look at is Will Dissly. And I don't even think I can get myself there, man. We might just leave it with the few bets we have in this game. So far, we got Chargers minus 2.5, Joe Mixon touchdown, J.K. Dobbins touchdown, Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns, Ladd McConkey over 72.5 receiving yards, and over 5.5 receptions. And then Will Dissly, he had 5 for 42 last game and a touchdown. Then before that, 2 for 21, 2 for 19. We'll take Will Dissly as well. I like that. We'll go Will Dissly. Now, the question is, do I want to go over receiving as well? Dude, it's 5.5 receptions, man. Or 3.5 receptions. We might just go receiving yards. Receiving yards like 30.5. And there's usually like his longs are in like 15, 14, 15, 18, 29. So he's had some longs where it's gotten half the yards up. So we basically just need about 2 or 3 receptions. So the hook seems like it's going to come in play. The 30.5 yards seems a lot safer. So we're going to stick there. So that's it for that game. Because, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to mess with that too much. A game that we're basically going to take like no props on. Ravens, minus 9.5 against the Steelers. I don't know. I'll admit, if it's 9.5, I'm taking Ravens, no questions. No questions asked, just based on how they played lately. But the fact is 9.5. If it gets to 10, 10.5, 11, I'll start considering Pittsburgh a little bit, just because it's way too many points. I mean, 9.5 is a lot of points, but biggest thing I wanted to remember going to these games is that Wildcard Weekend can become a blowout. We've seen it last year where these games just become drumming. I think last year the Browns got drummed by the Ravens. I mean, these games can truly become blowouts. So, Ravens minus 9.5 might not be a horrible play. I think they generally do have a chance to win. Derrick Henry minus 185 to score. We're going to keep it simple. There's 3 guys on the top of the Ravens list. I like all 3 of them. Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman. Whoever you like, take any of those. I'll tell you this is how I'm going to do it. I'm giving out Henry and Andrews to score for them. I'm personally going to bet Rashad Bateman at a certain point live in the game. I don't know when. He's a big play guy. I'm going to bet him live, but the 2 guys who feel the safest are Henry and Andrews, because every game you're just seeing Andrews in the end zone, Henry's in the end zone, Andrews in the end zone, Henry in the end zone. Then the wide receiver, they sprinkle that in a little bit. That changes it up. So we're not going to mess too much in any deeper waters with players, because, like, for example, if we see Isaiah Likely's getting a lot of targets in the game, I recommend just live betting Isaiah Likely. That's another guy. Lamar Jackson, Isaiah Likely, Nelson Aguilar, like, I truly could see all these guys, until you get to, like, Tylan Wallace, Devontae Walker, Steven Sims. I truly could see any of these guys scoring for the Ravens. Like, even Aguilar could maybe get a shot. Like, I mean, the way this Ravens offense works, they spread the ball around a lot. A lot of guys get touches. So that's where I'm leaning at. George Pickens plus 210 to score. Najee's plus 220. Pat Freiermuth plus 280. I think we're only going to take the Muth, man. For me, it's the Muth or Harris. I don't like how they're splitting running back times. We're going to take Muth. The Muth anytime touchdown, then we're probably going to just stay away from there. Passing-wise, you got a 217 for Lamar, 206 for Russ. I might take Lamar's passing over. I want to double-check what it's been the last few games, but it's a bit tempting. He's been throwing the ball a lot better. 217 last game against Cleveland, 168 against Houston, 207 against Pittsburgh, 290 against New York. So he got 207 twice against Pittsburgh. 15 for 23 and 16 for 33 against Pittsburgh. That's hilarious because Russ is over at 206.5. Passing, I'm not probably going to take Russ's either because you want to talk about playing shaky lately. 148, 205, 217, 128, 158. So I'm good on the passing yards. Passing touchdown-wise, we will take Lamar over 1.5. It's minus 156. 1.5 for Russell Wilson plus 185. I'm not going to bet anything Steelers-wise, especially player-wise. I'm just not interested in their player props. They've been playing too weird lately. I want to, other than the Muth touchdown, we'll check out his receiving because I can't remember the number. But, yeah, Lamar over 1.5 passing touchdown is probably where we'll just leave it at that. Receiving-wise, you got Mark Mandrews is 44.5. Bateman, 46.5. Bateman's tempting. I will admit, Bateman's pretty tempting. And by the way, we'll probably do this for most of these games, but I won't drag it out this long. Like Bills Broncos, for example, probably not going to take many player props for the Broncos with how much they spread around the ball. So certain games you just won't have to. We'll be very quickly with some of the player props. But yeah, Bateman last game had 5 for 76 with Zay injured. I do think he'll step up a bit of a role, so I will take Bateman's over 46.5 receiving yards. Feels a bit low. If it gets into where, I would say it feels about 10 yards-ish too low, I could see him getting about, 50 to 55 range. So I like it at 46. So we'll leave it at, Well, we like the Bateman at 46.5. Isaiah Likely at 27.5. Tempting. I'm just probably going to stay away. Mark Andrews, I do want to see. I wish I looked all this up yesterday. Forgot to write it all down. Imagine that. Andrews last 2 games, 54, 68, 37, 24. Against Pitt, he had 4 for 37, 2 for 22. We'll probably stay away. They'll probably have eyes on Andrews, so we'll focus on. We might actually take Likely in this game. What do you do against Pittsburgh? 3 for 29 and a touchdown against Pitt. 4 for 75. We'll take Likely's over instead. Thinking they'll probably focus more on Andrews, so we'll take Likely over 27.5. Feels pretty low. Like that number. He's hit that both games against the Steelers this season. And then, like I said, we aren't taking any receiving props for any of the Steelers. Only one we consider is Pat Freiermuth. Sorry, my foot was very itchy. So we're going to look at, like I said, Freiermuth to end it real quick, and then that's probably going to be it for this game, and I'll give out I guess we can look at rushing real quick, but I don't think I'm going to take any rushing. Against the Ravens, 3 for 16. Last game he had 8 for 85, 7 for 60, but the game before those 2 games was Ravens 3 for 16, and he get 2 for 14. We're good. Yeah. No reason to bet it. We're good. We'll stay away from that. Now we're going to move on to, I think we're going to do some rushing to end it. Rushing props real quick. I probably could. Nah, we aren't going to do any game specials. We'll save game specials for a divisional round. Yeah, we aren't going to do any division. No, we're going to have so many player props. We aren't going to do any game specials till divisional round. I will admit, Stay Down Sports, I'll at least give it a quick look through, and if there's any fun game specials I find, I'll put it in the article for Stay Down Sports that I'll be writing. I guess probably Friday? I have to do my college one today. So yeah, rushing wise, Derrick Henry 98.5 we're good. Lamar over 48.5, tempting. I do want to check that out actually. Lamar's would be the only one we potentially take. Against the Steelers, he ran 9 rushes for 22 yards and 4 for 46. A little too high. We're good. I wouldn't be shocked if he hits it, but we're not going to take it ourselves. So that leaves us with Ravens -9.5, Mark Andrews and Derrick Henry anytime touchdown, Pat Freiermuth anytime touchdown, Lamar over 1.5 passing touchdowns, Bateman over 46.5 receiving yards, Isaiah Likely over 27.5 receiving yards. Bills. We're going to take Bills -8.5. It's a rookie in the playoff. History tells us it's not going to be too good, so that's simply the only reason we're going to take the Bills 8.5, and the fact the Bills have just been so dominant. And it's also, I'm very curious to see how the Broncos come into this game, because it's not like first time making the playoffs since 2015. You could truly tell how excited they were after the game, how pumped up the boys were. So I'm very curious. It's a human thing. Can all these humans, who let's be honest, the Chiefs game wasn't like an emotional, from the score wise, wasn't an emotional toll, but winning it and everything that came afterwards, that's a big let's go. First time since then, first time since whenever. You're getting patted on the back congrats, man, you made the playoffs. Now you got to go play the Bills. Can you get up and get ready for it? That's what I'm very curious to see about this Broncos team. That is also the main reason I'm kind of staying away from betting them fully, is because what first is this team going to show up? James Cook, Josh Allen, anytime touchdown, both of them. You know how it rolls around here. We're going to take both. Whichever one you like more, take between them. Your boy's taking both. We'll take Cortland Sutton plus 155, and that's where we're going to leave it at that. I don't want to take any... No running backs. No running backs because Sean Payton passed the ball around too much. I'm not messing with that. Especially with the running backs. I mean, that's a running back by committee. You're hot, go. Now you're cold. All right, next guy, you're in. You're hot, keep going. Now he's cold. You're out. Next guy, hey, you in now. I mean, we got 3 backs that touch the ball. I'm not messing with that. Marvin Mims at plus... It's Cortland Sutton or Marvin Mims. Let me put it that way. We'll do MM. I like Marvin Mims or I like Cortland Sutton past that touchdown-wise. Probably going to stay away. Bills, don't mind Shakir. Also don't mind Keon Coleman. But Amari Cooper might not be bad either. But at that point, it's all right, let me just keep it simple. Let me take Josh Allen. Let me take James Cook. One of those guys might sprinkle the receivers, get the most receptions. But that's where the main focus is at there. And then we're going to go to passing prop-wise. You got Josh Allen over 230.5. Bo Nix is over 223.5. Passing touchdown wide, Josh Allen over 1.5 is plus 100. I don't know if there's going to be weather for this game. I probably should look that up. That's probably a very good question because it's in Buffalo. Buffalo weather Sunday. 1 p.m. Apparently the weather they have for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, it's going to be 31. Feels like 26. There's going to be some snow showers potentially. Looking like wind 5 miles an hour. Okay, so looking at this weather-wise, not humidity. I'm just kidding. No, but overview-wise, it's looking like weather. So round 1 is going to start. Literally 20% chance of snow throughout the whole game. It's going to be about 30 degrees. Sounds like some time to pound the damn rock. We will take, just to hedge the rushing touchdowns, though, we will take Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It is plus 100, so it feels like a pretty decent hedge of the rushing. Like, we don't get it with the rushing. Bills are going to score like 28 to 30 points, in my opinion. It's just a matter of how do they get it. Is it on the ground? Is it through the air? That's what we're going to have to see. Cortland Sutton over 64.5. We will be taking that. Marvin Mims is over 41.5 as well. So we'll be taking Sutton and Mims over. We'll be taking Sutton's and Mims. We'll take off Mims. Sutton's over. Rec yards. And then we're going to take anybody from this. Bills pass the ball around too much. Nothing against Josh Allen. He just ball gets around too much. And then running back wise, Ray Davis is at 19.5. That's probably going to be the only. They're going to. I don't know. They've been getting other guys touches, so it makes me wonder how much Ray Davis is going to play. But I'm assuming they aren't going to give James Cook every single carry in this game. And if that's the case, Ray Davis, 15 for 64, 6 for 9, 5 for 12, 7 for 15. He's put some games together where he has moments. He has a game of 20 for 87, 6 for 29, 4 for 20. 19 is not a lot of yards. You're talking 4 carries, that's 5 yards. This guy gets 6, 7 carries. Give us 3 yards a carry, basically, to hit the over. So we will be taking, like I said, Ray Davis is rushing over, and then that's probably what we'll end it for here. Like I said, over 19.5. Because like I said, there's just, especially this game, I feel like there's just going to be a lot going on. There's going to be a little bit of weather. This has a little bit of a blowout feel to me, potential, so I'm just, scared to take some props on the Bills, and all of a sudden they're up 30-0 or whatever, and they're up 28-14. They're running the ball, trying to chew some clock, and we don't get some of the passing stuff. So that's why I'm not really taking the passing like that. They pass the ball around a little bit too much. Broncos are kind of the same way. They're one of those offenses where they get everybody involved. Bo Nix over 24.5 rushing. Might be in play because the Broncos running backs suck. That'll be the last thing we check before we move on. Bo Nix rushing. Last 2 games, 7 rush for 47, 7 for 31, 3 for 25, 8 for 23. We will be taking Bo Nix rush over as well. That's over 24.5. That's where we're going to end it for that game. So for that game, we got Bills minus 8.5. James Cook or Josh Allen anytime touchdown. Cortland Sutton anytime touchdown. Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdown. Cortland Sutton receiving over 64.5 yards. And then we got Ray Davis over 19.5 rushing. Bo Nix over 24.5 rushing yards. So that moves us on to, moves us on to the next game, which happens to just be the Packers-Eagles. That should be a fun one, man. Actually, is that next game? Yeah, it is. Packers 4.5-point dogs. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, like I said, has returned. Touchdown scoring props. You know how we go around here, man. The trio. It wouldn't be right if we didn't do it any other way. Barkley, Hurts, and A.J. Brown. Anytime touchdown. No joke. I think 2 of these 3 guys have hit most of the games this season, which is wild. Saquon's minus 165. Hurts is minus 115. A.J. Brown's plus 135. Josh Jacobs at minus 105 is tempting. We'll go Jacobs, TD as well. And then one more guy for the Packers if I was to pick. I don't think I'm going to take it personally, but Jaden Reed plus 220. Give the guy the ball in his hands. But I think the Eagles win this game. I'm not 100% sure on the 4.5. I will admit, if I had to pick, I'd probably take, Eagles minus 4.5, but that would be written in red. I'm not really. I would much rather take the Bills minus 8.5. And then, Eagles minus 4.5. I don't know, man. That one kind of has me a bit torn. Jalen Hurts over 212 passing yards. Jordan Love over 226. I want to look back in the first game of the season just to see how it was, but that's just a horrible. There's basically no reason to look at the first game of the season. We get kind of some ideas. Jalen Hurts threw for 278, had 2 touchdowns. Jordan Love, 260, 2 touchdowns. 29-34 game. Feels like these two teams, I mean, why not? We'll just, instead of taking the passing yards, we'll take both quarterbacks over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So we'll go both QBs over 1.5 pass. So that means, so for Hurts it's plus 116. For Jordan Love it's plus 102. I don't know. I just would rather not. If I'm going to take anything with these quarterbacks, for me it's basically passing touchdowns because. Yeah, but and then with Jalen Hurts, we've already got his rushing touchdown. If you take both, one of them hits, you'll at least make some money on it. So that's kind of my thinking there. I don't know. I could see this being very similar to how it's going to be like a. I see this game being in the 20s. So that gives us basically like 3 to 5 touchdown range. I'm assuming the 3 to 4. I'm knocking it down to. So I'm trying to think like, who gets it there? Receiving wise, I'm not gonna lie to you. We're not taking any receiving props in this game. These quarterbacks pass the ball around way too damn much. Each quarterback gets the ball to their respective receivers. Like sometimes it's the AJ Brown game. Some games it's Devontae Smith game. Some games it's the Dallas Goedert game. And the same thing goes for Packers. This week's Romeo Doubs. Next week it's Jaden Reed. This week it's, for example, Christian Watson, who's not playing. He's hurt, torn ACL. Just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I don't know. Receiving wise, Saquon Barkley's receiving over is tempting. It's at 12.5 yards, but he has not hit over 12.5 receiving yards since November 24th. So I really don't know if I want to get in those waters. We'll see receptions real quick. Saquon Barkley over 1.5 receptions. He's gotten over 2 receptions in every game, except for 2 since November 14th. So I'd rather take that. But that's minus 168. Just know that. So not the best juice, but I might put this in like a. This might be a nasty boy, maybe. More reception. So, yeah, that's probably where I'll leave it there in this game. Then, like I said, rushing-wise, I'm probably not going to take. Jordan Love over 5.5. Saquon's over 101. I'm good there. 69.5 for Jacobs. 37.5 for Hurts. Just feels a little too big, I won't lie. Just a little bit too big for all those. Except for Jordan Love's, of course. But Jordan Love just doesn't scramble. He has an injured elbow, but yeah, there's literally games like Rush. He had 0 for 0, 1 for 6, 1 for 2, 1 for 4, 4 for 23, 0 for 0, 1 for 2. Too much of a gamble there. Not going to really go with his rushing yards. And Jalen Hurts, he's just coming off a concussion. How much are they really going to run him? But he has 3 for 41, 15 for 45, 8 for 50. We're going to take Jalen Hurts just rushing over. Just know there is a chance that he might not play fully, but Hurts, rush over. I mean, it's just 37.5 is a really, really good number compared to the what's been going on. Like, I mean, compared to like his other numbers and how he's been playing. I mean, we'll go since the Dallas game November 10th. 7 for 56, 10 for 39, 12 for 39, 9 for 29, 8 for 59, 15 for 45, 3 for 41. So the only reason he truly will not hit this rushing over is if he just does not run too much. Or, I mean, he's hit this over in what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of his last 6? Feel pretty good about that. It's just like I said, he's coming off a concussion, so my only fear is like, oh, maybe he doesn't run, and they don't want to run him too much. Saquon, only reason I don't want to take his rushing over because you got games like 146, 255, 107, 124. He ran for 109 against the Green Bay first game of the season, but then you got some games like 95, 84, 47, 65 sprinkled in there. So I'm a little bit nervous. Just 101 yards is a lot for an NFL running back, man. I know Saquon Barkley, and I know he probably will get it, but that's a lot of damn yards. Last 2 games, Commanders +3. We're going a little bit long, so I'll try to speed it up a little bit. Commanders +3. I like Commanders +3 over the Bucs -3. I think this will be a field goal game regardless. And something I do like for the Commanders is Jalen Daniels likes to throw it underneath, and it's not totally only underneath, but he likes to get completions, likes to get the ball into his guys' hands. Buccaneers play a decent amount of soft coverage. That's something I'm going to be probably looking forward to with, ooh, that should be nice. Touchdown scoring wise, I'll admit, we're actually only taking 2 guys, and it's probably not guys you think. So we're taking Terry McLaurin, obviously, at +115. I'm sure that was more of an obvious one. And then after that, man, give me, Jalen McMillan +175. He has been coming on the scene lately. I feel like there's going to be a lot of focus on obviously trying to stop Bucky Irving, trying to stop Mike Evans, who are two of the main offensive weapons in this Bucs offense. That leaves Jalen McMillan some hopefully one-on-one coverage opportunities, which he just has to capitalize on then, and then we'll get our touchdowns that way. Passing prop-wise, over, what was it? 238 for Baker, 235 for Jalen Daniels. We're good there. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Baker's minus 168. Jalen Daniels minus 118. I like them, don't love them. It's one of those situations, so I'm not going to give it out. I like the bets. They'll love them. Not going to give them out. But don't be shocked if they end up on the slip somehow. Receiving-wise, I might go to Jalen McMillan over 49.5. Past that, I really don't want to mess with any of these other yardages. This is just one of those games where I'll admit, I could see the Commanders not being able to do anything because they have a rookie on offense. I could see Jaden Daniels actually being ready for the moment with all the college football he played and being good. I could see, I think the Bucs have a chance to win this game, honestly, too. So it has me just torn. I really can't get myself around to, like, which player props I like more, too. I'll look in the article and I may be able to find one or two over the next few days. But right now, just looking through, I've been struggling. If anything, Jalen McMillan, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's hit this over 5 games in a row. So I actually will take it. So we'll take him TD and over 49.5 receiving yards. If it's under 50, I'd say anywhere around like 53, 54, I'll start getting a bit scared. Past that, Zach Ertz over 38.5 is tempting, but we'll probably just take him to score a touchdown, maybe. Hedge it that way. But receptions-wise, maybe we'll take something there. Zach Ertz over 4.5, we'll probably go there. I'll take one last quick little peek at Zach Ertz's receiving numbers. We aren't going to take anything with Terry McLaurin. I just assume he's going to have a big game, but scared to take it, man. There's games where he either goes off or he has like 1 for 5, 2 for 4, 2 for 30, like stuff. I'm not going to say boom or bust, but feels like it sometimes. Zach Ertz, 44, 72, 12. He has some games where this number hits, but he also has a few. If he needs, I feel safe with 3 or 4 receptions, and his reception over, it's like 4.5, so. 38.5, just a tad too big for me. I'm going to stay away from that. So that's probably good for the Commanders. We got Commanders plus 3. Terry McLaurin, anytime touchdown. Jalen McMillan, anytime touchdown, and over 49.5. Receiving yards, rushing-wise, I might take Baker for his over. Jaden Daniels over 48.5. I'm not going to take Brian Robinson, I think there's a chance that they might rotate a few guys in, because especially with Austin Eckler back, they might just try to lighten the load on him just to make it not as bad. Apparently, Jaden Daniels is dealing with a leg injury, so I'm not even going to deal with his rushing over. Apparently, they're not concerned about, it's leg soreness. Yeah, well, we should be fine. He should be fine, you would think. So, rushing-wise, if you look at Jaden Daniels' rushing, we got 127 yards, 81, 66, 34, 74. We'll take his rush over, actually. If he's good to go, there's a good chance he's going to use his legs, especially because he's Jaden Daniels, man. He freak of an athlete when running, so why not take advantage and use your legs? And then the last guy we're going to check on rushing-wise is Baker Mayfield, and then we got one more game to talk about. So Baker as of late, 9 for 68, 1 for 2, 3 for 42, 2 for 25, 2 for 12, 3 for 8. I do think he'll have to run a little bit to do something for them, so we'll be taking his over. Just because Baker running has been a really good weapon for them this season and kind of unexpected at points. So officially, Commanders plus 3. Terry McLaurin, anytime touchdown. Jalen McMillan, anytime touchdown. Jalen McMillan over 49.5 receiving yards. Dan Daniels over 48.5 rush yards. And Baker Mayfield over 17.5 rush yards. And then that leaves us with one final game. Vikings minus 1.5. They are minus 118 on the money line. Rams are plus 100 at home. Give me the Vikings, man. I think Sam Darnold bounces back from the horrible game he played. I think they got to the red zone. They just couldn't finish, and that was basically the biggest story of the game. 265 passing for Sam Darnold. 235 for Matt Stafford. I'm probably going to stay away from both of those. Sam Darnold over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 168. I probably will. I do love that one. I just think he has a way better game than they played, so I think there's a bit of a bounce back here. Minus 168 though, horrible juice. I'm not really a big fan of that juice. So that's something I might be like Justin Jefferson anytime touchdown, or like I might actually do, like, for example, Sam Darnold anytime touchdown, Vikings money line. Might be something I consider, something like that, to where it just makes it a little bit not as disgusting to look at, odds-wise. But receiving-wise, Justin Jefferson over 90.5 is tempting. Jordan Addison over 59.5, tempting. TJ Hawkins over 41.5, tempting. This is another one of those games where I just can't commit to anything. I like a lot of bets, don't love them. So I'm not. It's the end of it's playoff time. We don't need to be taking stuff we don't. Basically, we'll have Sam Darnold over 10.5 rushing. Cam Akers 23.5. Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford over a half rushing yards. That is tempting. We're gonna have to see though. I mean, the only reason I want to take it is because it's a half rushing yard at plus 100. 6 rushes for 16, 3 for -4, 4 for 18. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Especially with how much they blitz, that is way too damn low. That might be in the nasty boy, honestly. That might be in the nasty boy. That's pretty disgusting. It's plus 100 too. I love that it's plus 100. Like I said, the only thing that's going to kill us probably is kneeling it or him just not running, because sacks don't count against rushing yards in the NFL. But half a rushing yard, that's just way too low. And then Sam Darnold, that's the last one I'm going to look at. I'm not going to take any of the running backs rushing yards fully, because I don't know what to expect fully from this game. The fact it's 1.5 point spread, Vikings put some bad tape on film. I've seen the Rams play bad. I've also seen both these teams play at their best. So that's why I'm prop-wise a little torn. Might need a little bit more time to think. Sam Darnold, 3 for 10, 5 for 11, 4 for 7, 4 for 22, 8 for 18, 7 for 28, 2 for... we're good. 10.5. I mean, if it was like 9.5, 8.5, probably be on it, but we're probably going to stay away for that reason. So that leaves us Vikings. This is the Monday night game. So like I said, the fact this is the Monday night game, I won't lie to you. I have an article just for this coming out on that Monday, so I'll probably find a few more props. I'll just probably wait till after the weekend to do that. But Vikings, money line, Darnold over 1.5 passing touchdowns, Matt Stafford over a half rushing yards, and then I like Justin Jefferson's receiving. I like Jordan Addison's receiving. I don't mind whose rushing was it? Oh, we already said it, Matt Stafford. Sam Darnold's kind of sketch. So that does it for NFL, man. That went pretty long. NFL official bets: Chargers -2.5. Joe Mixon anytime touchdown. J.K. Dobbins anytime touchdown. Justin Herbert over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Ladd McConkey over 72.5 receiving yards. Over 5.5 receptions for Ladd McConkey. Will Dissly over 30.5 receiving yards. Ravens -9.5. Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. Freiermuth, Pat anytime touchdown. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Rashad Bateman over 46.5 receiving yards. Isaiah Likely over 27.5 receiving yards. Bills -8.5. James Cook or Josh Allen anytime touchdown. Cortland Sutton anytime touchdown. Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Cortland Sutton over 64.5 receiving yards. Ray Davis over 19.5 rushing yards. Bo Nix over 24.5 rushing yards. Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, the trio, anytime touchdowns. Don't mind Josh Jacobs, anytime touchdown. Both Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Saquon over 1.5 receptions. Jalen Hurts over 37.5 rushing yards. Commanders +3. Terry McLaurin anytime touchdown. Jalen McMillan anytime touchdown. Jalen McMillan over 49.5 receiving yards. Jaden Daniels over 48.5 rushing yards. Baker Mayfield over 17.5 rushing yards. Vikings money line. Sam Darnold over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Matt Stafford over a half rushing yards. That takes us to college, man. College football bets. This one's going to be a lot smaller, a lot quicker, I won't lie. I'm not going to lie, we aren't probably taking many props. We'll take a few. Like I said, we already gave out one, but we'll talk about it more when we get into that game. But not going to be big props in this one. We're going to focus more props in the NFL. This is going to be more like straights, over, under, stuff like that. Notre Dame on the money line. It's funny. This was like minus, I think, 148, minus 150 yesterday. I'm like, ooh, glad I got it. Now it's minus 120, man. It's moved a little bit. Again, it went from moving in my favor. Now it moved against me a little bit. On the other book where it was minus 125, where I got it at, I want to see, it is now officially minus 120. I lost 5 odds. Fuck! No, in all seriousness, though, give me Notre Dame on the money line. Very, very excited for Notre Dame squad. I think they truly do have a realistic shot to win. I do just wonder, what is is Penn State going to be able to shut down Notre Dame's offense? Is Notre Dame going to play as much man-to-man as they've been playing? Or are they going to play a little bit more zone? let's see. What are some other concerns I have? For Notre Dame, like I said, the man-to-man zone, what's going to happen there? Is their defense going to be able to hold up? Because they've still been dealing with a lot of injuries at the D-line. Going to need another great game from the D-line. And as for Penn State, man, they've been playing pretty good. They've impressed me a lot. They didn't have to pull out all the stops against Boise State. Very, very excited to see how it's going to go in this game. I could truly see this game going anyway. I won't be shocked, like I said, if Notre Dame loses. But because I'm a fan of them, it's 1.5 point game. Basically a pick 'em. I'm picking my boys, man. Definitely could see Penn State winning this game. It's mainly just going to come down to Riley Leonard again. Riley Leonard had over 100 rushing yards last game, I believe. Had only like 90-something passing yards. And he was a game manager, got the job done. If Notre Dame's defense balls out like they did against Georgia, and if Notre Dame's offensive line balls out like they did against Georgia, I don't know how Penn State stops them. But Abdul Carter, very important for him to get back for the Penn State if they want a chance to win this game, obviously, as well. So like I said, we like Notre Dame on the money line. Touchdown-wise, we're going to take one guy from each team. We're going to take Riley Leonard from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I took Jeremiah Love last week, took the other running back. He throws it to a receiver, and it's not going to be like Bo Collins. I'm only going to pick him, Riley Leonard, because there's a chance read option. He runs it in himself. But because I'd be tempted to take Jeremiah Love as well. I'll admit, I'm going to bet Jeremiah Love as well, but I'm only going to give out Riley Leonard because I don't know how healthy Jeremiah Love is at this point. He started off the playoffs with just a leg sleeve on. Now he has a knee brace. He's come out of both games kind of hurt with his knee issue. So I wanted to take his over. His over's only 35.5 rushing, but we'll get to that in a second, actually. And then also the other guy I want to score, I like Tyler Warren for the... For me, it's either Tyler Warren, and then you can choose between Quaytron Allen or Nick Singleton. That feels like more of a coin flip there, but I'm just going to take Tyler Warren. Feels a little bit safer than choosing the one, because this running back situation feels very similar to IU for me, where I picked the wrong Indiana Hoosier running back every week. We got, I think it was Tyson Lawton to score for us the first week, or the other running back did, and then every other week I give out one, the other scores. Give out the other guy, this guy scores. So, 2 running back team, especially like Notre Dame is. I don't want to mess around too much with that. So, Riley Leonard and Tyler Warren are the 2 guys I love to score. And then Jeremiah Love, I'm personally taking myself if you want to ride with me. Passing prop-wise, 183 for Drew Aller. Riley Leonard's 164, staying away from both of those. Riley Leonard, over half passing touchdowns, minus 180. I'm for sure taking that. Drew Aller's over 1.5, plus 148. And by the way, me taking Leonard over a half passing touchdown, I'm probably just going to throw it in with something, honestly. Odds are horrible. It's minus 180. This is one of those situations I talked about earlier where... What do I even have saved? Oh. Very tempting. For example, Notre Dame, Riley Leonard over... I usually hate parlay. Never would recommend parlaying usually. But in there's situations where you can, tweak it a little bit. Like, for example, I love Riley Leonard over a half passing touchdown. That's minus 180. Don't like that. But then you can get Notre Dame money line at minus 120. That's plus 141, man. Not bad. And that's basically me. That's not bad. So I generally do like that. And over a half passing touchdown, we just need Riley Leonard to throw one pass. Unless Notre Dame's truly going to run the ball every time they end. We saw it last game. Play action, throw. And Riley Leonard can make those type of throws where it's just one-on-one. His guy gets another guy. His guy has a little bit of insight on the slant. Leonard can make those throws, man. Might not have the strongest arm, but in the red zone, he can for sure get it done. So I like that as well. And then we're going to move to we're going to take any rushing. No rushing at all for me. Because, like I said, especially when it comes to... Oh, I lied. We have one rushing. We gave it out. Leonard over 47.5. It's on one book. It's 47.5. Another one's 49. As long as it's under 50, I truly don't mind it. But get the lowest number I'll be honest. I'd much rather at 45. If it's under 50, I don't mind it. But I'd try to get anything. Lowest number you can get, I would. Because don't forget, sacks count against rushing stats. So he could get 80 rushing yards. And then the last play of the game, he runs back during a Hail Mary and gets sacked for 41 yards. And if his over is 40, we got 39. Boom, it's a loser because of a dumbass sack. So that's my only fear with taking this bet is that single thing right there. But past that, I do love his rushing over. His legs are going to be a huge part of the game. And the receiving-wise, we're good. I don't know. Bo Collins, actually I lied. This one's way too goddamn low. Bo Collins over 17.5 receiving yards. That's just way too low, man. Way too low. I don't care that. I mean, man, yeah. That might be the only one. I mean, Jaden Greathouse over 11.5. I mean, these receiving yards are low, man. But Bo Collins was the only guy I saw making a lot of plays for the Irish. Jaden Greathouse, they are going to need him. So, I mean, I might simply just take a lot of these receiving yards because they're so damn low. The guys, 17.5, that dude can get a 20-yard reception cash. Don't even got to worry about it. So that's something I will admit I am very tempted to lean into a little bit more. Like Jaden Gray, we're gonna actually look at this. Like, for example, Bo Collins, 17.5 for receiving over. Last game against Georgia, 1 for 13 touchdown, 2 for 18, 4 for 37, 1 for 16, 1 for 15, 2 for 42. We get 2 receptions with this kid, and I know we can. We're gonna be good. I feel like we get 2 receptions with Bo Collins. We're gonna be pretty good. Jaden Greathouse, we talked about 2 for 6, 1 for 8, 1 for 6, 1 for 12, 1 for 17. Now this is a guy who, truly gets like one pass. He's 11.5 as his over. Jordan Faison, is it Faison? Number 4 for 46, 7 for 89. Last 2 games, his is at 42.5. We're gonna take Jaden Greathouse just because it's so low. 11.5 for receiver just is. It's almost like a gambling rule. I know this team doesn't throw too much, but yeah, we'll leave it there. And then if I'm going to take anything, Katron Allen, what is he for Penn State? But that's probably where I'm going to leave it here. Like I said, we already took way too many props. I said, I'm probably not going to take any props. And then I end up looking at the back at the numbers again. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot they were this low. But yeah, Katron Allen, receiving wise, he goes. We're going to take his. Just simply for the fact it's over 6.5. If he gets a reception, it seems like it goes over it, but that's where we're going to leave it at. So Allen over 6.5. I won't lie to you. We're going to leave it there. What's the other running back at? Nick Singleton's 26.5, bit higher, but. So this is where we officially got for Notre Dame, Penn State. I'm leaving it here. Notre Dame money line. Love it. A lot of my money is mainly going to be on that. And then we're going to do some small sprinkles on Riley Leonard, anytime touchdown. Tyler Warren, anytime touchdown. Leonard over a half passing touchdown. Remember, it's minus 180. We paired that with the Notre Dame money line, plus 141. Riley Leonard over 47.5 rushing yards. Bo Collins over 17.5 receiving yards. Greathouse over 11.5 receiving yards. And Katron Allen over 6.5 receiving yards. OH. Give me Ohio State minus 5.5. It's just one of those situations. I think I just don't trust. We don't trust Quinn Ewers. We've talked about it. Nothing against the kid personally. It's just watching him play. It's just not a fun ride to bet on. But you got to get neither is Ohio State lately. But we're throwing all that out. Throw it all out. Throw it all out. Throw it all out. Just looking at this game, both teams play their best. I'm just viewing this as both teams play their best. I don't know how Texas hangs with Ohio State. No offense, just because mainly of Ohio State's receivers. And I would say Ohio State's defense pretty close to Texas. I don't know if it's better, but I would say it's close. And it has moments. But overall, it might be better. I don't know. I don't have the numbers right in front of me to say. But if I had to pick, we're taking Ohio State minus 5.5. If they play their best game, they should beat this team pretty handily. I'm scared this game might get ugly. Because the biggest issue, my biggest thing that scares me, Texas. If you're a Texas fan, this is my biggest thing that scares me. Struggled in the red zone a lot recently. Ohio State, I believe they are number 1 in the red zone defense. If not, they're top 3 in red zone defense. So that is my biggest fear, is that Ohio State's red zone defense is going to just completely shut down Texas. They get no points. So that's why I'm on Ohio State 5.5. I just don't know what they're going to do offensively. Touchdown-wise, we're going Jeremiah Smith. Minus 165. And then past that, we'll probably just... I'll probably leave it be. I'll probably just leave it there. I don't really want to take anybody else too fully. Because like I said, I can't bet on them after the game anyway. So this is a team, especially Ohio State, they spread it out a lot. Will Howard I don't know who I would take between Will Howard, Trevion Henderson, or Quinshawn Judkins. So I'm just going to go with the best player on the field, Jeremiah Smith. And if we're going to take anybody for Texas, we'll take Matthew Golden. He's been the main receiver since all the injuries have happened with Texas. He's been the one guy who has been just kind of around and still there, even with all the injuries. But Wisner, what position did he play again? Like, he's the heavy favorite to score, heaviest favorite to score. I truly can't remember what position he plays for. Oh, running back. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't mind him. His odds are just a little bit too big. 175, not horrible, but I think we're good. And then we're going to go to passing. Like I said, by the way, I'm going to do an article, probably release it tomorrow. I'm going to start it today, finish it tomorrow, release it right before the Notre Dame game for both these games. Because most of the Notre Dame stuff, yeah, we gave out here. So we'll see, though. I might be able to get it out tonight. There's a small chance I won't be able to, though. If not, expect it tomorrow before the games. Passing touchdown-wise, over 1.5 for Quinn Ewers, plus 106, minus 172 for Will Howard. We're good. Like I said, we're probably taking one person staying, and it's Jeremiah Smith over 84.5 receiving. I just think this is going to be I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I'm scared of a blowout just enough where I'm not going to go heavy on the props. I'm just going to watch. This is going to be one of those games because, like, I don't know. This is another one of those teams. I mean, they just have so many players, especially Ohio. They have so many players who can get the ball on both these sides. And my biggest question for Texas, can Quinn Ewers get them the ball? And for Ohio State, it's like, are they going to get shut down? So like I said, officially give out my bets for this game. Ohio State minus 5.5. Jeremiah Smith, anytime touchdown. Matthew Golden, anytime touchdown. Jeremiah Smith over 84.5 receiving yards. Going a little bit lighter on this game because, I don't know. The game feels like the great wild card. Like, it's either going to be a blowout or it's going to be a really, really awesome game that's close, and I just can't figure out what side to lean to. But, man, thank you all for watching. Thank you for support. Really do appreciate it. Really fun one today. Crazy that after next time you see me on Tuesday, we're going to be talking recap of all this, but man, we're going to have a lot less teams to talk about. 2 of the teams in college, gone. I believe, what is that? 1, 3, 4. I think we have about 6, so 6 games to play. We're going to lose a team in every one of those games. Moving forward a week in the NFL, and then, man, next week's going to be a divisional round, talking national championship, headed into that next Monday for college football. Going to be a great one. Should be appearing tomorrow by Captain My Hook with my boy Rowan, so look out for that. Thank you all for watching. Much love. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And I'll be back in this feed on Tuesday to recap all the action that was in playoff football. And if you want to talk a little bit more football tomorrow, maybe give out a few more bets. Probably give out the same bets. Honestly, just talk forward football with my boy. See you tomorrow, Thursday, on Captain by a Hook.